So this is third out of 3 of our all agent meetings that we are conducting in an effort to get everybody on the same page, celebrate together our accomplishments this year, ensure that you guys know who you can go to with what and how we can help you and support you at the office on that level, and our annual agency disclosure relationship that we have to have that covered annually with the Real Estate Commission, being notified that we've done that. So we're going to go ahead and get started. To start us off, we have got some video introductions. And if you guys will bear with me, we'll have some videos on the screen here introducing our leadership team, and then we'll move forward from there.
I'm Susan Sullivan, Market Center Administrator here at KW Montgomery. Some of the things I handle in my role include accounts receivable, accounts payable, process all commission checks and pay the associates. I onboard new agents into the KW intranet. I oversee compliance and command, as well as the daily operations in the Market Center. If you have any questions regarding any of these things I mentioned, please contact me at 334-277-8920 or by email at ssullivan9806@kw.com.
So that's our Market Center Administrator, Susan Sullivan. You guys know her well.
Hi guys, my name is Shalisa Robinson. I am the Director of First Impressions. I assist leadership and the agents with the day-to-day operations. I'm also getting started with command workshops, so if you guys are wondering where to start, I can also assist with that. I also do the announcements, so if you need to contact me or someone in the office, feel free to give us a call at 334-277-8920 or shoot us an email at kwmtg.frontdesk@gmail.com. Thank you. Hello, my name is Vicki Wadsworth, and I am the productivity coach here at KW Montgomery. And what the productivity program entails is focusing on the system, tools, and models that we use at Keller Williams to assist agents into productivity and to be able to run their business like a business. I would love for you to schedule an appointment with me if you would like more information on the productivity program, and I can be reached at 334-467-7990. Thank you.
Last but not least, well, actually not last, because I forgot to do me and Adam, but our qualifying broker is Jimmy Ann Campbell. Her email is here, and she is in and out of the office, and so she would like for you guys to reach out to her via phone, is on the roster, or email with any questions you have about what's going on with your contract, any document questions, how do I fill this out, and we'll go into detail a little bit more about that. I am Katie Woodard, the team leader here at the office. Adam, I think I saw you. Are you with us?
I am.
Oh, hey. So Adam is our operating partner, which means he is the franchise owner, and he purchased our franchise end of last year, December. And so since then, we've had a lot of really great changes here in the Market Center. For those of you that have not been in the Market Center since COVID, since spring, there's been a lot of work put into the office here just on paint and signs and technology and upgrades. And so that's kind of some cosmetic things. And then we've had a lot of great things happen, and that's because of Adam's vision with his role. So Adam, you want to say hello to everybody, introduce yourself?
Yeah, most of you guys I recognize and have met before. If I haven't, I look forward to the opportunity to meet you guys. So I'm Adam Beams. I've got a team that's based out of Tuscaloosa. We have expansion teams in Madison, obviously Tuscaloosa. We have a large team, and then we're also in Hoover. We are expanding our team down into Montgomery, so we look forward to talking to you guys about that opportunity as well. And so, yeah, so I'm my basic job every day is just making sure that we're on target for our goals, make sure to cast the vision for Katie to carry out. And if you guys need anything, I'm always available. So if Katie can't take care of you, which is rare, you can give me a call. So
He and also the team partners, Britt and Jeremy, are investors in our market center, and they're really present in a lot of our trainings. They've been down to teach. Actually, this week they were here in the market center, coaching with people, and so they are a great asset and value to our office. We appreciate them and them pouring into us. Their team, he didn't brag on this, but their team is, one of the tip top in production in Keller Williams. They have a really great reputation. They're really well connected, and they did $70 million last year in production. They're already looking at over 200 units for this year so far. And so it is a lot of excellent top level talent in production pouring into us here in Montgomery. And so I'm Katie, the team leader, and I've spoken with hopefully everybody on this call. And I am to make sure Adam, the OP, the investors, their vision is cast out. So my primary responsibility is profitability, productability, and growth in the market center. So I hold recruiting appointments. I have conversations with people and talented individuals that want to grow a big business, whether inside the office or outside of the office, and provide with top level, conversations on how to grow a big business. And I'm responsible for the training calendar. I chair the ALC committee or the ALC, and they're in the committees. And so a lot of big, good, awesome things we've got going on, and a great team leadership here to support you guys growing a big business. Speaking of accomplishments, I looked back on just the first half of 2020. We saw, this year has been one for the record books. And yet I got to looking back at everything KW Montgomery has accomplished in this year of years. We have had fantastic upgrades to the office. We've partnered with, at this point, over 30 talented agents. We've grown from 4 to 11 cappers, opened our very first mega agent office. We established a productivity coaching program. We have grown that productivity coaching program to over 20 agents at this point. We were named #1 market center for growth in April with the KW Southeast region. We were named one of the top market centers for growth in May with the KW Southeast region, and we were named the #1 market center for agent gain in the second quarter of 2020 for the KW Southeast region. So that is phenomenal. It is something to share, and it is all based on partnering with phenomenal individuals and growing a big business. And so kudos to you guys. If you had not seen this, is something to be really, really, really proud of. And we're proud of you guys. And then, guys, I was like, man, I'm so proud of that post. I get to share it with everybody. And then July came, and I was like, look at this. So record breaking. Keller Williams Montgomery has been here in 10 years. And this last month, we have accomplished and broken records in all of these categories for the history of the company. So company dollar, record breaking, profit share, closed volume, written volume, units written, listings sold, income, and total gross commission income. And what that really means, guys, every category there, it directly impacts the income and the wealth of our agents. And so phenomenal, guys. That's more money for each person that's here. And that's why we get into business, right, guys? So we want to look at the market, and this is something that we talk about weekly on our Tuesday business meetings. If you guys have not been able to attend those, I'm just going to be real honest. Y'all been missing out, right, Vicki? Those have been some very, very, very good, very intentional conversations on what's going on in the market. What do we see happening? how can we equip, how can we strategize, what are some tactics to apply. And so this is something we look at on a weekly basis. And I wanted to be sure to bring that up right now while we're having these conversations and getting everybody, we got an all agent group here. And so some people may be on these calls that, don't typically tune in or engage. And I just want to be sure that we are highlighting exactly the conversations that we're having on a regular basis here through business meetings, through trainings. It's important that we are the real estate company of choice for you as the agent and your client. And how we do that is provide knowledge and education and training so that you can then be that professional, okay? You can be that expert to help your clients and customers. So if you take a look at, this was in the last 30 days, I believe I pulled this Monday morning. So these numbers may have changed slightly. And yet if you look at the number of listings taken versus the number of closings, you can see we're struggling with inventory right now. So I wanted Adam just to pop on for a minute, highlight what we see going on and where we kind of anticipate this going. And so that if you are one of those individuals that's like, man, I don't understand what they're talking about with this market, that's all the more reason to call in, to be on the meetings, to be in the trainings, because this is what we talk about.
Yeah. So, what we look at is obviously we've got 636 houses closing, 875 contracts written. So there's about a 28% fallout there. So what's causing that? And so when we start talking and masterminding with our agents, well, we're getting a lot of pushback. When you got 440 listings and 636 closings, we're definitely in a seller's market, right? So, and what is a seller's market? Anything less than 3 months of inventory. If you sell 600 houses, and there's 1,800 houses, well, you're still in a seller's market. 3 months of inventory and less is a seller's market. 3 to 6 months is a balanced market. Anything greater than 6 months of inventory is a buyer's market. So when you start looking at these new listings at 440, if you're out there attracting business, the business to attract are clearly the listings, because if we're in a seller's market and we've got this type of shortage, we're seeing that 30% of the listings nationwide are selling for more than list price. So what a great conversation to have when you're trying to attract business. If you want to sell, now's the time to sell. So Katie has done a fantastic job getting nationally ranked people from all over the country to pour into our market center and take a few minutes every week to highlight what's going on, not just here, but nationally, because to be a professional, you got to be able to take the numbers and break them down. And when you have that high level conversation with your client, what's the chances that you're part of that 636 closings? So we're here every week to pour into you guys. And one reason to have this mandatory meeting, one, we're required by law to get the RECAD class out to each one of you guys on a yearly basis. So that's one reason to do it. Second reason is we want to make sure everybody has the opportunity at KW Montgomery to be highly successful. And that's the reason why we're highlighting all this stuff, to let you know where to find things, who you need to talk to. And so we appreciate y'all's time to be here today. And if we can do anything for you, we're here.
I'm muted. Yes, we are. I was just responding to the chat. So this slide, comes from Designs in Command, and you too can do it as often as you wish, to pull from the market data. And I do it on about a monthly basis where we're talking about the market regularly. And yet this actual graphic, I probably do once a month, so I can look at what's been going on the last month. We can talk about it, and then I share it out on our public Facebook page and internally in our private Facebook group. So you're welcome to create your own or use what has already been shared. I put things out there so that it can be generic and you guys can reuse some of those. And yet I encourage you to also take advantage of the resources and tools that we have in Command, in the designs. Literally, guys, I popped in the KW Montgomery and I changed the numbers to fit what was in the market. So there's very little thought or design or graphic, anything that went into this post and many others that you will see like this. I am not a graphic designer, I promise you. So I'm leveraging what has already been provided to us. I'm a little too OCD in certain ways to do that. So anyway, that's the market stats. We do share those with you guys, and you are able to, customize that through Command. All right, so I want to ask you a question, and I'm just real curious. Did you know we're coming on to finishing up 23 weeks in COVID? Maybe even be 24, because I did this math last week. So let's say
It feels longer.
In a lot of ways, it does feel longer, right? In a lot of ways, it does feel like the 600th day of March. Like we get on these calls and I have to look again going, all right, today is August. Is it August? Is it really August? And so in those 23 weeks, so none of these numbers that I've calculated even count this week, we have had 135 Zoom trainings, 23 business meetings, 14 guest speakers, and we've added 40 plus archived recording trainings to our YouTube channel. Did you know that? Have you taken advantage of that? The leadership team, myself, Adam as well, have a lot of conversations with a lot of wonderful individuals. And the main concern a lot of people have is, am I going to be trained? Am I going to be like educated and taught and coached and helped? Because real estate's a big deal. And we're very proud, I mean, literally like super prideful of the fact that I can say, since this crisis hit, we've offered over 130 one-to-one trainings to our agents. That's a really big deal, guys. Gary Keller had a conversation in a podcast, and I've shared it on our group, Think Like a CEO podcast with Keith Cunningham. Keith Cunningham is a top thinker, business individual. And they said in crisis, businesses are going to do two things. They're going to cocoon or they're going to reinvent. And so we're really heavy on the training. March hit, and you guys that were with us there, what did I do every morning when it first hit? From my house, from my car, what did I do? I became Katie Couric. Okay. Like I'm not a video personality. I didn't have a YouTube channel and subscribers, but it was a big concern that this training that we had, this wonderful training room, this new technology we put up, all these things that we put into place for you guys to be successful, that because we wouldn't be face to face, it was a really big concern. And so what we said was, we're just going to do everything we can possibly do to provide as much value and resources to our agents now, that regardless of what we know about this COVID, what we know about what's going on in the world, if there's business to be done and we've got people that want to do business and want to be trained, we're going to show up.
Katie,
so in that, we've really put all into it.
Yeah, along those lines, I mean, in 08, when 08 hit, a market, when it shifts, like we're looking at these numbers, I mean, we will see a shift in the market where it goes to a balanced market. We were actually more headed toward balanced market right before COVID hit for Montgomery. And now, based on the shortage, it's really pushed everything into a feeding frenzy. So if you've got listings out there, you're getting multiple offers on them, right? So the reality is any type of tragedy like we went through over the last few months, Gary has preached and preached and preached, and actually they wrote a book. It's called Shift, what to do in a shifting market for real estate. And so, right. And so that we've went through podcasts every morning with Pivot Shift, and that's the reason why we've pushed this so hard, because the territory that's taken over during a shifting market is never given up. So it's a prime time to grow your business. And a lot of the new agents that have come in as of recent have plugged into the training, and their business is just taking off. So kudos to them, and Katie and Susan, Jaleesa, Jimmy, Ann, I appreciate you guys pouring into the agents and providing that opportunity there. Vicky, I left you off there. I'm sorry.
Oh.
She's the main one. But I appreciate all you guys. So.
And honestly, this is not to say, look at us, look at what we're doing.
Right.
I mean, we're doing a lot, and it's with you in mind. You make the decision for Keller Williams Montgomery to hold your license, to help you build a big business. That's why you sign on with us. And we take it very seriously. I've been at a different company. Vicky's been at a different company. Several other people have, and we understand, and I want you guys to understand, it's not the norm. It's very intentional. It's very purposeful. And I want you to see it and take advantage of it because it's for you. It is for each one of you guys. Take it very seriously to be able to provide for your family and your goals and your vision, what you have. And we do that through real estate. Real estate is just the means in which we do it. But if we're going to do it, we're going to be the best. Okay. So that it's very intentional to do that. We have a big vision and we're going after it. And we hope that you guys will be right there along with us. So back to leadership a little bit. We've highlighted everybody's name, but I want to get a little bit more specific on, hey, who's going to help me with, right? We get agents coming in all the time, and I think they think, I need to talk to this person specifically for this. So I just want to bring a little bit of clarity. We're growing our team. Who do we go to and for what? So I'm going to start with Jaleesa. Jaleesa is at the front desk. She's our director of first impressions. She is that KWMTG email. So make sure that's not going to spam. That is how we primarily communicate with you guys. That's where the link for this came out. It was sent probably 10 times. I'm going to go back and look and count. So the link to this was sent out so many times. And if I have somebody going, where is that? I'm a little worried that I'm not, either you're not checking or it's going to spam or we need to get a billboard, right? So that's going to be how we communicate with you all. And that's Jaleesa directing that. She can help you with MyKW, how to locate things in MyKW. Any command questions. Hey, I can't submit this. It's showing this banner. Or, hey, it said this. Go to her for those things. She's going to start doing a Get Started in Command workshop. And so she'll help you with that. After our phone duty list. If you want to be added to that list, go to her for that. If you have a change in your closing date, if you need to update your payment method for your agent bill, any onboarding paperwork, she handles all of that, and she's here to assist Susan and I. So sometimes if you can't get Susan and I, we're on a call doing whatever, likelihood she can help you. Okay, so check with her. Vicki Wadsworth, getting agents into production. In July, the productivity coaching program. So individuals that raised their hand and said, I want to get into production. They were responsible for 10% of our company dollar in July. So 10% of people that said, hey, I'm willing to be coached, I want to get in production, that contributed to us profit sharing $12,000. I want you guys to understand that. That's a big deal. It's a big impact. Developing success habit, being held accountable. Is it breaking up for y'all? I'm wondering if it's me or y'all. Can y'all hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. Role playing, negotiating contracts. These are all coaching privileges, and she's welcoming anybody that has been wondering about it. Have a conversation with her. Reach out. She'll be happy to schedule an appointment with you and tell you more about what it looks like to be in the coaching program. We've seen great results from that. Jimmy Ann, she helps with our contract questions. If you need cooperation from your co-op agent, documentation questions, scenarios, things like that, and any compliance questions. If you say, hey, this says it's required, but my scenario is John, my seller, said this, and then that's Jimmy Ann all day long, right? We check off and say, hey, this is in there, this is in there, this is in there, based off the checklist. But if there's a specific situation, that's something you're going to want to go to Jimmy Ann and get approval for, okay? And then Susan, our MCA, would you like to go through, or do you want me to go through and then you highlight anything I missed, Susan?
Either or. In my little video, I said all the things I think, and I didn't forget anything, I hope. But of course, I take care of anything financial. So I'm like the CFO without the title, but anything as far as paying your bill, running the credit cards, accounts receivable, accounts payable. I process the commission checks. I oversee your commission requests, your compliance submitted, things like that. Day-to-day operations, pretty much. Ask me anything you need, and if I can't answer it, I will point you in the direction that you need to go.
Dispersing earnest money. That's one.
Oh, yeah.
Down.
Yeah.
Dispersing earnest money. Jaleesa will receive the earnest money that comes in, and she has a little form. And the reason we do that is not to harass you guys, but as you all know, it is very vitally important that that earnest money is exactly where it needs to go with the exact and all the way through. So from the time it walks in our door to the time it leaves, either through the closing or through being dispersed back, it's very important. So Susan is the one that actually does the process, and Jaleesa will help receive the money, make copies, scan it into you guys. So we're working on having a phenomenal team to provide a seamless system for you all to do your business at a very high level. Did I forget anything about our leadership, or do you guys have any questions on who to go to for what? All right, good deal. So we have implemented a closing Trello. And for those of you that are maybe new to us or had not heard about this, one of the things we get questions on is submitting things into Command and the timeline of that. And we are so happy to have those conversations. We have so many resources to training through archive, through coming up on the books, through business meeting. We're starting to have one business meeting a month that's solely focused on Command. So if you've got Command questions that you've been, going, I want to know some more about that, we're gonna focus an entire business meeting once a month to that. So an entire hour, me and Susan, Vicki is always on those. So what questions do you have? But the closing Trello, we made it so that it is an easy go-to resource. It is an online checklist that says, I have a closing, what do I do now? And we made it as granular, click by click, pictures, videos, documents in that. If you have not been invited to the closing Trello, and it'll be your own board, you get your own individual copy of it, be sure to reach out to Jaleesa at the front desk, at the KW front desk email, and she will send you that link. It has been something that we've had several of our agents go, that's really helped me. It helped me understand the flow and how to submit everything and turn everything in. So be sure that you're using that resource. Jaleesa, as I said, is going to start doing the Getting Started in Command workshops once a week. September, it'll be Wednesday at 3:30. Should last no more than 30 minutes, but if you're looking for how to get started in Command, you're gonna go to that. We, for the past few months, Susan and I, as part of our new associate orientation, have put a path to getting paid portion on there where it's just how to get into Command and how to submit everything to the Market Center. So right here, that was 4 resources for you to use to understand how you get paid, what does that look like, and how to submit everything. It's very important to us that you know that. Susan, would you like to talk to our agents about referrals and what to do for referrals?
So, like Katie mentioned, that path to getting paid, we've come together and tried to think of a lot of things, a lot of questions that we're getting often, some things that we're seeing that maybe possibly are getting forgotten or missed often, and one of them is referrals. So there have been several commission requests submitted, and the referral was left off, so that when it came time to pay, I wasn't aware. So just a reminder to please do not forget to have that referral form along with the W-9 for that company, which you guys should actually already have, because when you put that commission request in, That information is required. And then, of course, I need that information on my end as well to process and pay.
Yes. Because think about it like this. If, I sent you a piece of business, Vicki, and you are my friend in Oklahoma, and I referred you business, and I sent you my cousin. I'm keeping up with my cousin. He says he's going to closing. I see it on Facebook. It closed. I'm saying congratulations. I'm really excited. A couple days go by, and I'm like, well,
Where's my check?
I think we filled out a referral agreement. So, well, what has happened is that's happened quite a few times in the last few months. And what ends up happening is, due to that not being submitted correctly, there's frustration on everybody involved's part. There's frustration with that agent that you want to continue to do business with. They're feeling like you're not concerned with paying them and thanking them for that referral. And that's how you would feel too. So always, 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 it's always better to submit and do everything in the front end and really be looking at where you're at. And that's why we have so many versions of the checklist. That's why we have so many trainings on it. If you don't understand, ask somebody before. Don't wait till after and go, oh man, I just, we've had some disgruntled agents call our office being very upset that they didn't get a referral, and we didn't know there was a referral on there. So, in an effort to do that and be that top-notch agent, the best, right? We want to be the best. Make sure that you have an understanding of how to submit referrals. That is a great avenue for business for everybody. We want you to understand it and then that to be a great thing for your business, right? So there are some additional documents to submit. If you are doing any lead service, any referrals through the OpCity, that also has to be submitted through Command. Anything coming off of your commission has got to be submitted so that we know how to disperse the funds properly. Susan, that's vitally important, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And in coaching, if you're in the coaching, we've done a video. Vicki, I know you've taught your agents how to deduct that. That's important that goes on there as well, just to highlight that.
Hey, Katie, one thing that just to add to, when you're thinking about writing your contracts, we're seeing a lot of the contracts getting pushed due to underwriters, right? So I would look at writing your contracts, not a 30-day, but maybe pad it for 45 days and have that conversation with your client. And behind that too, if you think about things closing on time and underwriters being pushed, it's pushing the closing attorneys. So you might want to consider not writing the contract for the last day of the month. We transmit on the last day of the month, and being a profit share company, that is a huge, it's a huge priority for us to get that done on time, because let's just say that Vicki, she's in my downline. Okay. She was my sponsor, and my profit share money is going to Vicki. It's not going just to Vicki, but who brought Vicki in, and that's nationwide. I've got people in Dallas in my downline. And so everybody has to transmit on time in order to make sure that profit share gets where it's going on time.
Yep. That's our cutoff and restart everything. And then that's, you have heard, I like to do funny little signs for Susan's door because it's kind of a stressful time. So I like to make it funny. But that's when it's doors closed. We're closing out the books for the month. And as you guys, it's mirroring what you will be doing in your business month over month. Where am I at? That's how you're going to be able to look at your annual goal. That's how you're going to be looking at your profitability. And so we do the same thing at the Market Center. That's why we have reports and we ask you, hey, is there any changing? Hey, are we going to expect this close this month? It's not because Susan is concerned whether it's going to close on the 15th or the 31st. She personally doesn't mind which day. She's very happy for any closing day. And yet we know that on the 31st, if we're coming on the 29th, 26th, we kind of need to know to project, hey, if we're going to push this to the next month for our bookkeeping. And that's the same thing you guys are doing, looking at your profit and loss, looking at your balances. You're going to be looking at, where is everything? So that's why we check in and say, hey, please let us know if there's any closing changing Or, hey, if you've got a closing and you just bring in the check, congratulations, we're so excited, but we didn't get to anticipate that to put that on the calendar to check prior to, right? Everything has a timeline, and we work very hard to make sure that there's systems in place, that it is as smooth as possible for you guys. And so just make sure that everything, you're top notch, everything is submitted way ahead of time. You're coming in going, you know what, Susan, you're going to be so proud of me. I went ahead, everything's in there, right? That helps because there's a lot of behind the scenes things that have to be checked. It's not a simple, I'm going to hand Adam a check, Adam's going to write me a check, and I'm going to walk out the door. Everything has to be checked and under compliance and processed accordingly. So I know you guys understand that, and I'm preaching to the choir. Just another thing to bring up, though, because there may be one or two people that had a question about that, what that looks like, and why is there a timeline around that. We are putting into place a compliance coordinator role. So there will be an additional person on the team helping make sure this process moves even more smoothly. And so be on the lookout for any updates about that too. Okay, so just be looking out for that. And then Jimmy Ann, I have not seen you. Are you here with us? Jimmy Ann Campbell.
She's on here. She is muted and she is on a different page. I had to scroll through. We got 26 people on here. So
awesome, great. Jimmy.
Now I'm unmuted.
Jimmy Ann. All right, so Jimmy Ann is here, and she is our qualifying broker, as we said before. She is going to take the second portion of this meeting and cover our RECAD and our agency policy, so that if there are any questions about that, we're all on the same page with that. So I'm going to give it over to you, Jimmy Ann, and I'm again going to make you the host. So when you end it, it'll just end the meeting. So thank you all for showing up. This is the last of the 3 meetings. So we will not be in your hair anymore. And I hope that we highlighted our accomplishments, who we are, how we can help you, and how we can all work together. So business meeting is Tuesdays at 9. Sometimes we change it to 10, but most of the time it's Tuesdays at 9. So just be engaged, guys. We have a Facebook group where we do a lot of talking on, a lot of sharing and congratulating. And then we have emails that go out every day. So that's how we're going to be getting it in front of you guys. Be sure not to hop off this meeting. It's important that you stay on here for the RECAD. All right. Thanks, Jimmy Ann.
You're welcome. Are y'all ready? Let's go fast, okay? Hello, I didn't see any heads nod. Yes. Before we start RECAD, I'd like to remind you something that I'm sure everybody in here knows. On Monday night, on August the 31st at midnight, your license must be renewed by that date, or come 12/01, September the 1st, there is an additional $150 fee that will be added to the renewal of your license. And I've been looking at who's on this call, and there are some folks on here. There are 10 people in our company who have not yet renewed their licenses, and some of you are on this call. So please, if you need any help, you can go online and do this. Call me. I'll be happy to help you to get that done. But the deadline is August the 31st at midnight. Because of COVID, the Alabama Real Estate Commission allowed you to be able to have additional time to finish your CE credits. So your credits must be finished by December the 31st, or your license that you renewed by August the 31st will not be good. And I don't know what they're going to do about penalties there. There will probably be another $150 penalty for you to renew after the deadline when your CE credits are due. Are there any questions about that? You can do it online. If you're going to mail in your check, make sure that you send it certified, and then you have that green return slip that the post office stamped to prove that you had it in the mail by the deadline. So be careful about that. You should have received a card like this from the Alabama Real Estate Commission to help you remember. You got any questions about that? Call me. Now, for your CE credits, let me go there one more time. For this licensing period, you have to have 15 CE hours. 6 of those hours must be risk management. There are 3 classes of risk management, and you must choose 2 of those. There is also a requirement by the Montgomery Area Association of Realtors that one of those additional 9 hours must be the Code of Ethics, and that's required by the Montgomery Area Association of Realtors. So technically, there's 3 classes you have to take, 2 risk managements and 1 Code of Ethics. Any questions about that? Beginning in the next licensing period, which starts January the 1st, 2020, there will be a brand new risk management class. And the requirements for renewing your license in that licensing period will require only 1 risk management course. This is a course that I had the opportunity to share on the task force that rewrote risk management. And this risk management class is going to be totally different than the 2 that you're taking this licensing period. It is going to take you as an agent, and it's going to work with you from the time you first meet somebody who at that time is a customer. It's going to work with you on how to convert them to be a client, and it's going to take you through each step of the transaction all the way down to closing, and it's going to apply Alabama license law to each step of the way so that you can learn what you must do during that step in order to practice good risk management. I think it's going to be a really good class. It's going to be a little hands-on, but I think it's going to give you more information that you need. And maybe it won't be quite so boring. So I hope that works for you. Any questions? Okay, let's roll. Our company, the Alabama Real Estate Commission, said that each company that is a licensed company had to write an office policy on agency. So every company does not practice agency the same way. Our company practices single agency, which means we allow our agents to work as a seller's agent. It allows our agents to be a buyer's agent, which says you can give your fiduciary responsibility to that buyer. That's 2 single agencies, buyer agency, seller agency. So if you're working with the seller, your job as a KW agent is to ask them to allow you to be their seller's agent. It is your job to give them fiduciary relationship. That is a legally binding relationship that says you're going to do the very best job that you can for your client. They now become a client all the way to closing. It's a legal entity. We are to get them their highest and best price if we are their fiduciary. Okay, our company policy now rolls over to talk to you about how do we work with sellers. Our job when we go list a house is to ask that seller to allow us to be their seller's agent. Did I say that backwards? Did I talk about buyers first? Hello? Can't hear anybody. Did I talk
Yes,
about
you
buyers?
did.
Okay,
Yes.
good. My brain's going, wait a minute, what did I say? We want to be a buyer's agent. Now we're working with a listing and we want to be a seller's agent. So for the seller's agent, our job is to get them the highest and best price. For the buyer, we're going to get them the lowest and best price. That's what I didn't say correctly. That's good. As long as you're selling another company's listing or another company is selling your listing, you can still remain as a single agent. The only thing where you have to change your hat that you're wearing is if, let's assume that, let's just say Kip King has a buyer and he is that buyer's agent. And he's going to sell Deborah Caldwell's listing, and she is a seller's agent. Right there, we are beginning to have a conflict of interest because Kip cannot get his buyer the lowest and best price, and Deborah get her seller the highest and best price. So that's a conflict. So the Real Estate Commission created another hat that we can put on. So Kip has to take off his head, his buyer's hat. Deborah has to take off her seller's hat. And you have to put on a new hat. And that new hat is called Limited Consensual Dual Agency. Big old long word. But what it means is if the buyer and the seller will give each of you permission to work together, then you may work with them under the limited consensual dual agency. The only thing you cannot do when you have on that new hat is, okay, Kip, let's assume your buyer said, okay, this listing has been on the market. You just showed me when you showed me the information on a competitive market analysis. This property has been on the market for 150 days. And I know you probably hear conversation in the office about, will they take less? Well, we really do. We don't sometimes. Kip, your answer must be, please remember that this is one of our office's listing, as you just mentioned, and I am now working in a limited consensual dual agency capacity, and there is no way the law will allow me to guide you in making your offer. I can give you all written information that I can find. See, I've given you a competitive market analysis right out of MLS so that you have the information there so that you know what houses in this neighborhood have been selling for, price per square foot. But I cannot give you that number. But using the information you have, I will write anything that you want me to present to the listing agent. Okay, Deborah, here comes his offer. It's a $200,000 house, and his buyer decided to offer 180. And you present that to your seller, and you are no longer a seller's agent, you have on that limited consensual dual agent hat. And your seller says, okay, Deborah, this is $20,000 low. Let's look at the competitive market analysis together. And you've been in this industry a very long time, and I know you're smart, and I know you know about negotiating. So I want you please to tell me, should I counter back? And if I should, what should I offer? Or should I accept this offer? Your response to your previous client, who is now limited consensual dual client, because I am in limited consensual dual agency, and this is being sold by a Keller Williams agent, the law does not allow me to give you any numbers. I've given you the competitive market analysis. I will write anything, I will present any counter, if it is a counter you want to present to the other agent. But the law does not allow me to actually let a number come out of my mouth. Had it been, let's assume it had been Aronoff who is selling your listing, Deborah, and your client had asked you that, you could have told him exactly what you think. Kip, the same thing. Had you been selling a RE/MAX listing and your client had asked you that, you could tell them exactly what you thought, and you could have presented to them a number that you thought was acceptable. But when a Keller Williams agent is selling a Keller Williams listing in our company, and this also includes our office in Prattville, because they are a part of KW Montgomery, we cannot give them guidance in making that specific offer. Okay, I'm going to take a deep breath and see if there are any questions about limited consensual dual agency. If you have a question, please ask. Don't be afraid to ask. There are no stupid questions because somebody else is probably thinking the same thing. So if you have a question, please unmute yourself. And now's the time to ask it about limited consensual dual agency. I don't see any unmutes. Okay, perfect. Y'all know that. So now we've talked about single agency seller, single agency buyer, and limited consensual dual agency when it is a in-house transaction. And now our office policy also says that we can work as a transaction broker. If you're working as a transaction broker, you are not giving your fiduciary legal responsibility to that client. You're going to be fair and honest to them. You're going to help them prepare the paperwork, and you're going to help them take it to closing. But you're not going to give them any information that they need that is personal. You can only give them that other information. Our office policy says they want us to work as sellers agents, buyers agents, or limited consensual dual agents. But as your qualifying broker, I'm going to tell you, because our office policy does allow transaction brokerage, there are going to be times when it is going to be the best decision to use transaction brokerage. For example, you're working with a client and you've probably shown them, you feel like this is the 44th house that you've shown them. I know we've all been there. And they find this for sale by owner down the street. It just came on the market with a FSBO sign and they want to see it. Oh man, what do? You need to contact that owner. You need to ask that owner, will they allow you as a Keller Williams agent to show that listing, and will they compensate you at closing? Get that verbally. Then we have a document in Matrix in our KW section under Matrix, under the Instinet forms, that you will use to take to the seller, that says their name, the property address, and what they will pay you at closing. Ask them to pay you. Our company asks sellers to pay a 3% commission as the listing commission. Ask them to do that. Get it in writing. Now, this seller is going to say, no, wait a minute, I'm a for sale by owner. I don't want to list my house. Your answer to them is, you're not listing your house. You are just giving me written permission to show your house to my client and to compensate me if he buys it. And you'll want to put a timeline on there. I might say if you bring them an offer within 7 days or within 48 hours. So you want to put a timeline on that agreement, the amount they're going to pay you, and the property address, and then you all are going to you're going to sign it. If you don't get that document signed, and you did go ahead and present your offer to that seller and he accepts it, there's always that possibility when it comes to closing, they're going to say, I did not agree to pay this commission, so I'm not paying them. Right? So you just lost your commission, unless your purchaser will agree to pay you your commission. So we want to use a transaction broker agreement when you're working with a for sale by owner. It's just safe because you don't know them. The second thing is, you might be the listing agent and you receive a call, and that call comes from someone in California who has been online and they have seen your listing. They've gone to one of the websites that our KW listings feed up to, and it's a fabulous house. And they are coming to Montgomery and they do want to buy it, and they want to write an offer before they ever get here to see it. Okay, they can do that. But if this is a buyer that has called you, you then have to go back, and I would work with them as a transaction broker buyer. We have that same document for a transaction broker buyer in our Matrix Instinet forms. Pull it up and tell them you'll be happy to work with them, but you have a document that you want them to sign, and talk to them about agency and tell them that you will be working with them as a transaction broker, and get that document signed by that remote buyer before you ever write the offer. I'm going to give you a war story very quickly. Years ago, I had a $600,000 listing, hallelujah for the price, out on the Troy Highway. Big old house. It had been on the market. I got a call from a buyer in California, as I used in my example a minute ago, who was from Montgomery, had not been here in many years, but she was coming back because her daddy was sick and she was going to help him run his company. And she had looked at all the pictures online. She wanted me to send her some other information on the house. I talked to her about transaction brokerage. I got that document signed, I sent her everything else that she wanted, additional pictures, seller's property condition disclosure. I sent her everything, but I made sure that she understood that I was a seller's agent and I was not her agent. It came to closing. They signed the document that said they did not want a termite inspection, even though I presented it to them, and they waived it. We closed. In the basement, because this was like a 3-story house, in the basement was a big rec room that had a real parachute on the ceiling. Just a cute, and a bar and music and lights. It was just a big old party room. After they closed, they were going to redecorate that room downstairs, and they took the parachute down. There were termites in the beams under the parachute. They filed a lawsuit against the company, the seller, and me, saying that I was in cahoots with the seller and that I knew that that house had termites and that the seller knew the house had termites. Okay. We went to arbitration, as our contract says, and because I had all the documents signed that I had signed, I had the transaction broker document signed, they had signed the seller's property condition disclosure, I had the termite inspection waiver signed, the judge dismissed our company from the lawsuit. Now, this was not KW Montgomery, this was the previous company where I was the broker. Had I not had those documents signed, there's no telling what would have happened. So that's why it's important, if you're working as a transaction broker, to get those 2 documents signed. We have prepared for you, let me pull this up so I can show you. As you know, in the copy room, as well as in Instanet forms, and inside Command, and on our Facebook group page, we have the documents. This is the listing document checklist that tells you what documents Susan needs to have into Command so that you can be paid because you're compliant. We also have this document that is the buyer's document checklist, so you will know what documents you need in order to be paid. And we have created 2 new documents for you. And I know y'all go, oh, heavenly days, paperwork, paperwork. But gang, you don't need these until you're in trouble. And when you're in trouble, you will kiss the face of this document that you have it, because it will save you. It will help you. This document is a transaction broker buyer checklist, because a lot of people think, okay, if I'm working with this buyer as a transaction broker, I don't need any other documents. That's incorrect according to Alabama license law. So we have the checklist for a transaction broker buyer, and we have a new checklist for the transaction broker listing. So please pull these up and look at them so that you will know what documents you have to have if in fact you have moved into transaction brokerage. I would like for you to please give me a call and let's talk about if transaction brokerage is the best position for you to work in. If you think there is that situation, that will be the very best thing to do, and let me lead you there. Sure, I've said a lot of stuff, but let's just take a break. And does anybody have a question about single agency seller? Is there a question about single agency buyer? Is there a question about limited consensual dual agency? And I'm not seeing anybody unmute and speak, so if I'm missing you, holler. Is there a question about transaction brokerage or when you might want to use it that you have? Because this is something that we're talking about new. Any questions? Y'all are just fantastic. So please remember, this is, pardon? New Cheer? I can't hear you. I cannot hear you.
Anybody hear me?
You're very fuzzy,
Oh,
very fuzzy.
you're coming in breaking up as well. I'm trying to talk loud. Is it better?
No, you need to hang up and maybe log in again. Or Nuccier, I know I said ask the question because somebody else may have it. You might want to put the question on chat, or you might call me afterwards. And if it's something I think everybody needs, then we can send it out to them. But you're breaking up. I can't hear you. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Okay.
Remember, these documents are required. And just to piggyback back on this, we've been after you guys to sign. The Alabama Real Estate Commission, Alabama license law says that each year, annually, I must have a signed document in a file in case there is an audit from each agent in our company saying that they've received a copy of our office policy on agency and they acknowledge it. We've been reaching back out to you guys asking for these, and we've been sending this out for about 5 weeks now, and I've just about got it finished. But there are still a few people who have not responded yet with that document for me to have in the file. Because if the Real Estate Commission audits us, they usually audit our trust account. They want to make sure we're handling everybody else's money correctly. And then they're going to audit our file on agency to make sure that everybody in our company understands or says they understand our office policy on agency. So I've got to have that back. Also, there are a few people, and some of you are on this call, from whom I have not yet received your document talking to us about rentals and whether or not you own a personal rental property that you manage, rather than putting it through a property management company, or you don't have any rental properties at all. So I'm going to send back out a text to those from whom I don't have that document. But again, this is an Alabama license law, Real Estate Commission required document, and a copy of your leases if you own property that you manage, and a letter from your tenant saying that they understand you're a licensee in the state of Alabama, and they give you permission to hold their money rather than running it through KW Montgomery, because we don't handle rentals in our company. I'm going to need those back too. And y'all, let me tell you, I had just as soon not have to worry about all this stuff. And if it were not law, I probably wouldn't. But it's very important we get these. Questions, anybody? Have I missed anything that you want to know about? Are you happy? It's 2 minutes after 1, and I am about to say, I think you are the best agents in this town. Every one of you make me happy. The guys who bring in the closings, you know what? We have a whole group of new licensees who are working like crazy. They call me asking me questions. So that's the last thing I want to say. Please call me if you have a question. I never turn off my cell phone. If I'm awake, I will answer it. If I don't answer during the day, I might be on a call right now. I've had a couple of texts while we've been on this call that I didn't even look to see what they are. Text me or email me, and I will get back to you. Y'all are the best. I want to help you be successful, and I love the fact that I'm proud of y'all. How did you like my sermon? Pretty good? I need a head shake. Y'all are nuts. Thank you. Talk to you soon. Have a great weekend, and be safe. Thanks. I'm hanging up now, y'all.